Okay, we are going to be doing our Paraffin Wax Manicure for Cosmo 20. I'm starting at the stage where my entire station is set up and my client is already seated comfortably. Remember that I wanted you to take at the beginning a picture of your entire station set up properly. I have all of the materials I'm going to use in the order I'm going to use them. So my hand sanitizer is first and my nail polish is being last. So that's the order I have my things arranged in. First thing to do, actually I see my client doesn't have any jewelry on, is to remove any jewelry. The lotion, the wax is just going to build up in there. It's a good idea for you as well to take off any rings you have, because during the massage you might scratch them or pull some such like that with that. So take all your rings off, and I see, oh, I'm having a little more issues, there we go. If your client has them, make sure they put them somewhere where they are going to remember them, in their pocket or in their purse. I can't tell you how many times in class I have had students lose their rings. They come back 1 or 2 days later, did you find my ring? I lost my ring. Often we don't find them. So make sure your client has them with them. They won't be very impressed if they take them off and then can't find them at the end. Anyway, so we're seated comfortably. We've taken off our rings. And we're going to sanitize our hands. So I'm going to put hand sanitizer on my hand, and my client can do the same. Make sure that you're rubbing the sanitizer in your hands, in between your fingers and such, so that now you've started off and you are ready to go. Everybody's sanitary. You need to do that to not spread any germs or bacteria, but it's really important when we use the paraffin wax that your hands are sanitized, because this is the perfect place for bacteria to grow if you're not sanitary, right? This is dark, it's warm, it's moist. That's the perfect place for bacteria. Make sure you're sanitized before you start. Okay, I'm going to be looking at her hands. Before you start, and this is just a technical issue again, make sure your client does not have any indication on their hands that would say you couldn't do their manicure. Is there anywhere that's red? Is there anywhere on her hands that's itchy? Does she have a open sore on her hands? Anything like that you're going to want to look at to make sure that it's okay to do the manicure. Her hands are good, so we're ready to go. And it's not a big deal. If you notice that your client has something that you're thinking might not be okay to do a manicure on, it's okay at that point to say, to ask them what it is, and if they know what it is, and it's nothing, great. If not, you might want to just say, maybe we can hold off on the manicure until you see, just see your doctor or a pharmacist to see what that is. Not a big deal. Better to do that than to spread contagious disease to every other client you get. Okay? So let's start with, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take off any nail polish that's on her hands. Again, my client doesn't have any nail polish on, so we're just going to pretend at this point for our sake. I've got my cotton and my nail polish remover. And if you have polish on your nails and you don't want to get it off, remember you can hold the cotton in between your 2 fingers like this, and this will make sure that the nail polish remover doesn't touch your color. So you're going to hold it on there. You can hold it on up to 10 seconds and then swipe it off, and that should take all the nail polish remover off. Okay? You're going to do that for all of her nails. Again, my client doesn't have any on there. We're just doing this just for the reminder for everybody that does have some on. Okay, so she's got these done. This has to go directly into the garbage can. If we were doing this as a skill test and I was there with you and I saw you put your cotton on your towel like that, I would take off, I don't know, lots of marks right off the bat for your disinfection. Make sure this goes directly into your garbage can. You want to keep the whole table sanitary and looking clean throughout. So our next step is where we're going to be filing the nails. So I have my nail file right handy. Remember, when you're filing the nails, you are always wanting to go side to center and hold your nail file at a 45-degree angle.
Okay, stop. Because
doing a close-up view of filing the nail. Remember, this is at a 45-degree angle. You're going from the side of the nail always into the center. Side, into the center. As you're doing that, can you remember why we always go side into the center? Remember what would happen if we went we're going to fray the edge of that nail. It's not going to be a very smooth nail. So you're going to be making sure you know the shape that your client wants. Do they want them round? Do they want them oval? Do they want them square? Do they want them pointed? I've rarely had somebody say they wanted them pointed, but that's supposed to go if you have a slender hand, a small, slight hand. Usually the square would be somebody who works with their hands. but still wants to keep them long. Round is the typical one for men. And the oval, I suppose oval or square, it could be either one. I find square is more popular these days. Although whenever I give my mother-in-law a square nail, she always goes home and rounds it to an oval. So make sure you ask your client what they want as you're going through. Okay, so you're going to do this on each nail for both hands. Click. Okay, so now I'm at the stage where we're going to be dipping our hands into the paraffin wax. For my client's hands, around her cuticles, I'm going to want to put a little bit of olive oil just to soften them up a little bit, and then some massage oil all onto her hands. That's going to give the lotion and the oils time to soak into her skin with the heat of the paraffin wax, and it'll be just an added touch to her manicure. The olive oil you don't need to do for the manicures. If they have dry, brittle fingers, or if they have cuticles, hangnails a lot, I absolutely recommend it. So I'm just dipping in my cotton tipped orangewood stick into the olive oil, and I'm just going to place it here. You'll notice how this is just slightly different than the basic manicure, where we would have soaked it at this stage into some water. We're not going to do that at this point because the paraffin wax is going to soak in, and it's going to do the same job as soaking it in the water and our cuticle remover. So we've got the oil on each of her fingers. And then we're going to take some lotion, warm it up in your hands first. We don't want to be putting cold lotion onto our client's hands. She's not going to be very happy. She might not say so, but she might not leave a big tip either. So make sure you warm up the lotion on your hands first before it goes onto hers. Okay, so she's got some nice lotion on there. I don't know if you guys can hear from the camera, but we've got some bouncing going on in another room. So everybody, our camera lovely lady who's shooting this is giggling in the background. So if you can see me with a big smile on my face, it's because there's a big tunk, 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 tunk going on in the background. So, that's just part of the way the days go. Okay, so she has our lotion all over her hands. Now I'm going to have to guide her hand into the paraffin wax. So we're just going to stand up. I'll move this out of the way so we can still see with the video. You'll see I have 2 towels and I have 2 plastic bags. And I'm just going to take her hand and I'm going to slowly guide it into the water, into the paraffin wax, and slowly bring it up. It's going to drip. As soon as you notice the drips have stopped, maybe about 10 seconds, you can dip back in. You want to wait until that it's fully dried before you dip again so that you get the full effect. So then down back in we go. And once that stops dripping, then this hand can go into the plastic bag. You know, if you didn't have a plastic bag, saran wrap would work just fine too if you had a piece of that. And then the towel's gonna go on. If you don't have a small towel at your house, I was thinking oven mitts sure might work if you had a clean pair of oven mitts. And we're going to do this for both hands. We're going to come in and take a closer look for the other hand, but that's the idea. Okay, we're dipping our client's hand in. Remember, we've tested this wax beforehand. We know it's not too hot. We do not want our client's hand to burn. So we're going to guide the hand in. Do not let the hand sit in the wax for too long, and I'll tell you why. It doesn't feel really warm in there, but when they pull their hand out, the heat then gets trapped in the wax, which is what you want. But if it's too hot, then their hand will burn when they bring it out, not when it's sitting in the wax. And we'll go in and take another dip. And once it stops, same thing. You'll put the plastic bag and the towel. And I forgot to mention, please encourage your client to keep their fingers open. It's much more comfortable and the wax will get everywhere if they can keep their hands open when they put it in the wax. Okay, so your client has had the paraffin wax on. They've got the towels on both hands. And really all you have to do at this point is sit and visit for 10 minutes. This is a great opportunity to take a photo, take a picture of what's going on. Remember, I want to see all your pictures. Unless you're taking a video, send me a video. But if you're taking pictures, this is a great spot to take a video. But at this point, what you're going to want to do, we've been sitting for 10 minutes, just visiting, appropriate conversation, of course. And then I take my client's hand, and the one towel can come off. In order to get this wax off properly, with my hand on top of the bag, I just give a little massage to the wax, and you can see the wax starts turning a little bit white. When you do that, it's just lifting up from the skin. And then, once it's done that, our wax might be a little bit warm. We probably could have visited a little bit longer. So then try to take the wax off in one pull. It might not come off all in one pull, but it should. Oh, we're having trouble on our fingers here. And then we'll slide that off. Now, let's see if we got all that off. Now this wax is not to go back in the wax machine. You can just take this wax and if you have a big enough ball of wax, your client can play with this while you're massaging the one hand. It's really good for fine motor skills. When I used to volunteer at the Cosmo in Saskatoon, it's where they did the recycling of bottles. Some of the workers in there would do some occupational therapy stuff at noon, and they would dip their hands in the paraffin wax and play with the paraffin wax, and they had much better fine motor skills when they were finished. It was really quite neat. So absolutely allow your client to do that as well. But remember, the wax, once you finish using it here, it's done. It goes right into the garbage after that. And then all of that is off, and then you can give that to your client to play with, and we can go and take the wax off of the second hand. This bag goes directly into the garbage. And this towel we're not going to need anymore. I just fold that over here, and we'll do the same on the other hand. And now we're ready to go into the massage. So we're going to do one hand at a time. And we're going to use a little bit of our massage oil or massage lotion. Make sure you warm it up in your hands first. Just applying the lotion onto her hands. Remember, I've warmed it up already in my own hands so that she's not having the cold lotion. And then we're just going to go into, we're going to be loosening up her wrist in here. Make sure your client is sitting comfortably. You'll know if your client is relaxed or not because they'll let you do this. Often if your client isn't relaxed, they'll want to do this movement for you, and that sort of defeats the purpose in here. So just wait until they do get relaxed and let you do this on your own. They'll get a much better massage out of it. So once we've got, then we're going to go into our finger movements, and we're just going to be hanging on to the end of the finger, just doing some loosening joint movements here. Just pushing back, just to relax the joints, similar to what we did on the wrist. Okay. You can do each of those 3 to 5 times. Remember, a nice, slow, easy tempo. You don't want to be going too fast with this. You want your client to be relaxing. You can visit with your client the whole time. It's not the same as when you're doing a facial where you're not able to visit so much because they've got product on their face and you're wanting them to relax and sleep. For this one, you can visit with your client the whole time that you're in there. So make sure you've got some good conversational skills, have a topic that you're going to be talking about, and just visit and help your client feel relaxed and comfortable. Okay, now I do the next finger movement, and I know it's slightly out of order from what you have on your handout, but I prefer to do the finger movements all together. So we're just rotating here at the joints. Instead, the other one was pushing back. Now we're just rotating in circles. Three to 5 times on each finger. You want the full hand and arm massage for one hand to last about 7 to 8 minutes. So in total, you'll be looking at about 15 minutes of massage time for both hands and arms. This might be a good time to discuss having appropriate conversation, right? When you're having your conversations with your client, you're not going to be gossiping or talking about other people, just keeping your conversations appropriate. From there, we're going to go into the palm of the hand, and I'll just show you, we're just going to be doing circular movements right in on the palm. This is the part that most of the clients say feels the best, and you can push really hard in here. and you're not going to be bothering your client. You can use a lot of pressure on the hand, and you'll find that it just feels good for your client. Okay. And then we're going to go on top of the hand, and we're going to do circle movement on top of the hand. And then we're going to be taking that down into the fingers and squeezing off on the end. Down onto the fingers, squeezing on the end. And you can squeeze quite hard. I mean, ask your client if they'll let you squeeze as hard as you can, and you'll see it doesn't hurt at all when you're in there squeezing. It's just a nice massage at the end of the fingers. Okay, when we're finished this, we're going to go just up into the wrist, do just a bit of a snake bite movement up on the wrist, back and forth with our thumbs. And then we're going to continue that. We're going to be doing circle movements up the arm. We're going to make a circle, slide, circle movements, and then sliding down. 3 to 5 times. You're going to do it on the top of the arm, and then on the other side of the arm as well. And if at any time you need more lotion, just make sure you go get some. Warm it up on your hand first. You don't want to be pulling on the skin. Your fingers should slide nicely on the skin. And probably need a little bit more lotion here. And warm that up a bit. Then we're going to go into two different snake bite movements. I'll call them snake bite movements. That's what they remind me of. The first one, where your client's arm is coming straight towards you, you're going to have one hand on either side of their arm, and you're going to be going back and forth on their arm. Okay, that's the one snake bite movement. And then you're going to turn that so that their elbow is at a 90-degree angle. Now both of your hands are on the same side, and you're just going back and forth. Back and forth with your And then you need to go into the rope movement where you're going up and down on the arm. Up with one hand, down with the other. Up with one hand, down with the other. 3 to 5 times, making sure this lasts about 8 minutes. And then the very last one, put a little bit of extra lotion in on your hand, and that's going to go right in on the elbow. And then you're finished with the hand and arm massage. And repeat that on the next hand. Okay, we finished the massage. Again, this is slightly different from the grade 10 massage, your basic massage, where we would have done the pushing back the cuticles before the massage. We're going to do them after because it'll make the flow of the manicure go a little bit better. We're going to be able to push back the cuticles now, clean under the free edge, and then we're going to be ready to do the polish. I don't know if you're all noticing my hair keeps going in my face as I do this. This is not a very sanitary thing to be doing for your entire manicure. Try to make sure your hands aren't going into your hair or on your face the whole time. I just thought I'd notice that and point that out to you. Just keep your hands off your hair and face the most you can do. This is not the best hairstyle today. Oh, my camera lady is offering me a paper clip. I'm going to pass on that. So here we go. I've got cotton-tipped orangewood stick, again my orangewood stick and some cotton. At this stage I like to use olive oil again just to push back the cuticles just a little bit in here. Remember, you're pushing back that cuticle gently and always with those circular motions. I think you can remember that from grade 10. Remember, if we go in there and we go straight in and start doing some jabbing like that, we are going to cause her a little bit extra pain. And we're also going to be probably contributing to hangnails in the future. So just always in the circular motions there. If you're finding she has some tougher cuticle in here, and if you're finding that's the case, for me, I just want to take off the cotton end of it just on one part for her nail. She has some cuticle that's grown up just a little bit up on her nail here, and I just want to be careful to just gently roll that back. What's going to happen if it stays there is that's going to become the jagged skin that might pull back a little bit and give her some grief with hangnails in the future. If I could just make sure that all of her cuticle is soft and pliable, and I'm just rolling the cuticle stick over her cuticle there as well. She has a little bit of cuticle stuck on this part as well. No big deal. We'll use our circular motions and push back. And there. Now I'm ready to go back with the cotton on the end of it. Depends on your client as to how much time you're going to be spending at this stage. Some people just have perfect cuticles and you're just doing this to get some oil on them and make them more pliable. Other people, maybe especially nail biters, are going to have a little bit more time to do this. And if you have a client who's a nail biter, you might want to do their manicure 3 times in a row and have them notice the difference it makes. If you have someone who's a nail biter, giving them a manicure frequently, at least once a week, is going to help them to stop biting on their nails, and it'll keep their cuticles in good condition as well. Once you've done this to both hands and you've pushed them back, you can see it's a little bit of a process. Jody has probably average cuticle here. You can tell she hasn't had a manicure for a bit because she does have her cuticle just sticking a little bit to the nail bed, to the nail body. So we're just pushing back a little bit on that gently with our circular motions and with the olive oil on it, especially for her fingers. They were just still a little bit dry on there. And at this stage you can clean under the free edge as well, because after this we're going to be painting on the nails and you don't want them to have any dirt left under there. So just use your orange wood stick. If you need to take the cotton off, go ahead. Jody has great nails, so going under even still with the cotton will be just fine. Making sure they're clean under there. And we'll do that for all the nails and on both hands. Click. Okay, so both of her nails, we've pushed back the cuticle and we have cleaned under the free edge. We didn't need cuticle remover at this stage to push back the cuticles because they've been softened quite a bit with the paraffin wax and the oil we put on to begin with. I used a little bit of oil for Jody's hands just to soften them still a little bit more because it's been a while since she's had a manicure. But now we're at the stage to be putting on the nail polish, and I don't want to put the polish on when there's oil still on the fingers. It's not going to stay and it's just going to chip right off. So I take a little bit of nail polish remover and just do the same step you would as though you were taking off the nail polish. You want the oil off of this nail body, pardon me. You want the oil off of the nail body, and then they'll be prepped and ready to go. Make sure you're going to look at them at this stage and say, okay, how was my filing? Are there any rough edges still on them? If you have to refile and do a little bit of filing at this stage, that's not a bad idea. That might happen. Make sure their nails are clean underneath the free edge. So we've got the lotion now removed from here, from the nail body, and we're going to go into doing our base coat, our 2 layers of color, if it needs 2 layers of color, depends on your polish, and then a top coat. Really remember, if you can do more thinner layers versus 1 thick layer, more layers that are thin is far better than 1 thick layer. You know what it's like when you paint your nails at night and you've done it quickly and they're really thick. You go to bed, you wake up and you've got sheet marks all over your nails. And that's going to happen if you put it on too thick. Probably if you went to bed too soon after not letting it dry too. But her nails are all ready. Make sure you've got some colors there for your client. I have a base coat and top coat in one, and often you'll find that in the store now. You won't find them in 2 separate products. They just look like one product. The base coat is going to help the polish stick, so that's really good. You know, your textbook doesn't describe it, but I did go for a manicure the other day and they gave my nails a little bit of a buff on the top of them, and that would just take off any of the little bit of oil that's on them. Not a heavy buff, just buffing slightly on the top, and boy, that polish stayed really well on my nails. So if you have a nail buffer, don't do it with a nail file. It's a special nail buffer that's a little softer. That might help as well. So you might want to ask your client if nail polish tends to chip a lot on them. You might want to try that on there. So I have my base coat. I forgot to mention this at the beginning, and you'll see that I forgot to do it. I've just given her a massage. Oh, look, there it opened. I can't tell you how many times students will ask me at this stage when we're there, can you open my nail polish? Can you open my nail polish? Absolutely, I can. But if you're there with by yourself with your client, it would have been a good idea for me to have opened all these, just loosened them before I began the manicure, because my hands have all kinds of lotion all over them, and my client's not going to be able to open them any better than I am at this point. So I should have opened it to begin with. If you're still having trouble opening them, sometimes a little bit of nail polish ends up getting on the neck of the nail polish bottle. If that happens often, it can stick in there. But to get it open, I often take just a thick rubber band and I wrap the rubber band quite a few times around the top and quite a few times around the bottom. Gives you that extra grip, and I don't think I've had maybe 2 bottles in my career from doing this that have never opened for me. Usually the elastic band works. Okay, so we're going to go in here, and I know you remember from grade 10, how many strokes do we have to do when we're painting the nail? I know as you're watching this video, you're wanting to scream out 3. It's 3, right? Okay, so here we go. My base coat is pretty good. I'm going to go 3 coats, 3 strokes, pardon me. I'm going to do 1 down the center and 1 on each side. Count them out. Have your client count them out. Tell your client to count out your 3 strokes for you. Have them say, I don't think that was 3 strokes. I have a lot of people say, well, I can do 3 strokes everywhere but on the thumb. Maybe. Depends on your nail polish. I have seen some people with thumbs that probably would require 4. Try to do your 3, but I can see on some people where the thumb might give you a bit of an issue. Okay, so you're just going to do this on all fingers of both hands. Then you're going to need to let that sit and dry. You don't want to be painting until this layer has dried. That's when you're going to start getting the goopy nails that smudge and seem to take forever to dry. Okay, we've just painted both of the hands with the base coat, and I always say make sure you have a wide variety of colors for your client to choose from. I looked in my drawer. I had pink, brighter pink, slightly pink, but still probably, you know, not the best, and silver. So those were my wide variety of colors to give my client. Off camera, my client said, please not the middle one. So my client then chose this one on the end. So maybe you've got some colors that you like to use at your house, or maybe your client has some nail polish they like to use. By all means, use whatever you have. Remember with the nail polishes, and I think we touched on this in grade 10, don't take the nail polish, I'll use one that I'm not using, don't take the nail polish and smack, 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 smack. You're going to put some air bubbles in there, and it's going to be less likely that you'll get a smooth finish on it. Rather, roll the nail polish. There should be, not all of them have it, this one doesn't, but they often have that little silver bead in there. But this will get the bead working just as well. Remember, this will put air bubbles in there. This will be a nicer way to go. Same with your mascara, right? I know that's in the makeup unit, but don't be pumping your mascara, you know, just give it a little swirl, warm it up, and it'll be better. We'll get that in the makeup unit, but just want to mention it here. Okay, how many strokes, people? 3. I know you're all thinking 3. Okay, here we go. This is a lovely pink. These were probably all toenail polish colors that I had in my drawer at home that I brought out. But remember, 1, 2, 3 strokes. If you get any on the skin, it is easier to take it off when it's slightly wet if you go under with your finger. If I got a lot on there, absolutely. Cotton tipped orangewood stick and some nail polish remover, and you can just go around the edges. But if you have nice nail polish to begin with and you're sticking with your 3 strokes, you are likely not going to have that issue anyway. Okay? A little bit too much is not a good idea either. So remember, 1, 2, 3. I get so many people saying, but my hands are so shaky. Yeah, they probably will be. Don't worry about it. Practice. With practice, they won't get so shaky. They're going to a little bit of polish just on her cuticle there. I'm just going to wipe that off. If I needed to use my nail polish orange wood stick, I would, but we're okay. And do this for both hands. Click. Okay, we've just gone through, we have done our base coat, we've done 2 coats of the color and the top coat, and I want you to come in and have a look at this so that you can see we don't have to have any of this on the cuticle, and I want to make sure you take a picture of your client's hands once they're finished as well, okay?
Okay.
So there's the hands, no polish on the cuticles, and a nice even application, okay? Okay, so you're all finished, your client is done. Make sure if they took off any jewelry that they put their jewelry back on, they take it with them, make sure they're waiting here. They should sit and visit a little bit, wait until their nails dry. You don't want to send them out the door. For example, if you were in a salon and they still had to pay for their service and you said, okay, it's great, see you later, how are you going to pay for that? They dip their hand into their purse and what do? Smudge all their nails while they're trying to get that. So sit, visit, it's a social activity here, so enjoy your time with them. When you're cleaning, I just want to remind you, all the towels need to get re-washed. Even though her hand was just on top of this, re-wash it. Note that on the end of this, when we did this manicure, I did double up the towel on the end so that she had a bit more padding for her elbows. I didn't actually end up using this one too much, but this one was here for me to use if I needed it. At this point, if you have a nail file that is not sanitary, you're to throw this out. If it's your client's manicure, if it's theirs, if you're in a salon and it's this manicure nail file, actually this one's an emery board. If you have this, it's not sanitary, to give it to your client so they get to take home their nail file with them, okay? And the orange wood stick, absolutely throw this out. Same thing, if your client wants it, absolutely offer them up their nail file. But make sure that all your towels get washed, everything gets put back in its place so that you've left your station sanitary for the next client.